Hello, Overwatch hot takers. I'm KarQ, and let us look at your hot takes. Here we go. First one of the week, hot take: people bend the term hero identity to fit their narrative. KarQ is the most agile character in the game, but balanced her damage and she suddenly lost her identity. Ramattra has two completely different forms, but one small alter to one attack, and, quote, he's lost his identity. I don't think this is a hot take. I kind of agree to this, where people do bend the term hero identity. I mean, it's kind of been lost in translation over the years, and people have their own definition of it, their own narrative, so to say. I don't kind of fitting their narrative sounds like a really negative connotation, but really all it means is what makes the hero unique to them. So for some, it's like a specific character interaction that makes them unique. So the Ramattra example, one small alter to the attack is basically pummeling or punching through shields. That is very unique to Ramattra and is part of his ability kit identity. And they remove that, they removed part of that interaction identity. But for the KarQ one, balancing her damage, I don't know if anybody's ever said that lost her identity. Maybe the identity in where she fits in a team composition or her role in a match where she can't, off angle flank because the damage or the kunais got nerfed and whatnot. I mean, to me, what does hero identity mean to me? It means what the hero does in the lore and how those abilities kind of complement what the hero is supposed to be. So KarQ is a kunoichi, a female ninja. She throws kunai, she teleports, she Suzus. If you take away her teleport or her wall climb, then I will personally say she's lost her identity. But right now, she has not lost her identity. For Ramattra, I don't think he's ever lost his identity. He has two forms, Omnic, Nemesis, Pummel Punches. He's still Ramattra. It's just that one specific interaction that changed. Lost the specific in-game balance. I would say it didn't lose the in-game balance identity, but that specific interaction identity, sure. But like as a whole, I would say no. So as you can see, the term hero identity means something different to me, means something different to you, and evidently means something different for everybody. Hot take: stealth as a mechanic would be much better suited to a support character. I don't think Sombra should be reworked to support, but a stealthy support would have way more room between useless and infuriating to be well balanced. That is certainly a hot take. I have definitely an unpopular opinion because I think being a stealth support hero incentivizes you to sneak around. And as a support hero, most of your job should be adding utility to the team. A lot of it will come in the form of healing. All supports have some sort of healing capability. And if you're going to be incentivized to spend time stealth, you're less incentivized to spend time healing. And people are very infuriated with DPS focused Moiras and people who don't focus on healing, like DPS only LifeWeavers, Battle Mercies, etc., etc. So I don't think that would be much suited to a support character by any means. Maybe as like a very, very small part of the kit, but nowhere anywhere near like Sombra, permanent stealth, or long forms of stealth. Maybe like a quick stealth to escape. Kind of like how Moira fades. She's sort of stealth or invisible for a brief moment. You can use that as like an escape mechanic as part of the utility, but not like a offensive tool, in my opinion. Hot take: the problem with 5v5 is the DPS and always has been. Yeah, that's certainly a take. The problem with 5v5 is the loss of a tank and the fun interactions a lot of the tanks have, because it introduced a whole slew of new problems, being the solo tank. I don't know how it's always been the DPS. I feel like DPS has been the least problematic throughout the 2 years of Overwatch 2. It's been a hot topic with supports being OP at some point, and then a hot topic with tank heroes being unfun to play. Maybe at one point Sojourn was really strong early on, but like that's about it. And a little bit of Tracer on the high end, but for the majority, never has been the DPS in my opinion. Hot take: LifeWeaver is the worst support to play in Overwatch 2, mostly because people just ignore everything you have to offer. You see someone at low health and you life grip them to safely, then they run right back in and die. Your life grip is on cooldown and they're about to die from a Rhine. Put a pedal under them and raise them in the air. Then they just drop right down and die. Your teammate is about to die, but you're close to grip them to safely. You get close to them, put a pedal down, raise both in the air, give you time to heal them. They just jump straight down and die. LifeWeaver is ipso facto I don't know what that's supposed to mean. You mean in fact the worst support to play? Bracket, also please save me from my LifeWeaver addiction. I mean, this just seems like a vent that you are addicted to LifeWeaver, but are like listening at the pain points and the frustration of playing the hero, where you do your best to save them and they still die. That's not a LifeWeaver problem being a worse support. That's just every support that you play. You're going to run into the point where like you nano them and then they still 1v5 into them thinking they're invincible and they die. Or if I Suzu them and then they like get the shit removed and then they still go back in and die. Like this happens everywhere. You're entitled to your, hot take opinion that he's the worst support to play, which is also bizarre because you're also addicted. So this just seems like a emotional vent. I'll let you have your moment. I don't think LifeWeaver is the worst support to play personally. I personally think it's Mercy, but hey, to to each their own. Hot take, Overwatch would be a better game if they removed skins. It feels like half the community is emotionally attached to skins and judge the season on the cosmetics instead of the event or balance. Like some of y'all should really just go play a dress-up game instead of giving money to Blizzard for a different color or sparkle on your gun. A better game in what way? If they suddenly remove the art team and the design team, do you think the balance team gets more resources? Probably not. That's kind of not how it'll work. There's always going to be a different team working on different facets of the game. And then these are the players, when they, judge the season based on the cosmetics, they're the target audience, the ones who buy the skins. It seems like you're a competitive player, you don't care for skins, so you're playing a different facet of the game. You're just choosing to listen to this portion of the community talking about skins. Obviously, it's everywhere, it's hard to avoid, but there's certainly a more competitive discussion about the balance and the events and all that kind of stuff, specifically outside of the skins. You just have to find and tap into that community. I do not think Overwatch would be a better game if they remove skins. In fact, I think skins are a big part of the game. I don't personally buy them, but a big part in terms of keeping the game running. It has to make money somehow from a business perspective, and they're evidently doing a pretty good job because these skins still sell pretty well. Hot take, Lucio could technically 1v1 any DPS and support character no matter the map. I mean, it's not a hot take. I mean, of course Lucio could technically 1v1 any DPS and support. Almost all the support heroes can 1v1 the other hero if they don't play it well. Even LifeWeaver, even Mercy. You pop Valk, you pull out your pistol, you could definitely air strafe and just pistol them down. Certainly happened. LifeWeaver, you've got some pretty close thorns. If you can get up close to them, manipulate your pedal platform, dodge with it. I mean, how is this even a hot take? I don't get it. Next hot take, quick play is the same thing as comp. Comp and quick play have the same win condition, winning the game. If you have no interest in giving it your all and trying to win the game, you should queue up in arcade or the practice range and let someone else that is trying to win get put into the comp or quick play game. I don't want to hear about how quick play is just for fun. No, that's literally arcade. Quick play is just as sweaty and valid as comp. You just don't get ranked after the game and aren't locked in if someone leaves. All game modes are fun. Arcade and the practice ranges are for the ones for practice and screwing around. I can see the laughing emoji and the fucking red pepper reaction to this. Quick play is not the same as comp. Comp and quick play have the same win condition, winning the game. So does arcade. So does any game. At the end of the day, what's the win condition of any game? To push the objective and win the match, no matter what the internal rules or limitations are. Open queue, arcade, you're trying to win the objective of the game. That's such a loose definition. You can play casual baseball league, and what's your win condition? To hopefully win the game. A casual pickup basketball game, you're trying to win the game, but it can be casual in nature. Quick play is inherently more casual in nature. It can be sweaty. Your pickup basketball game can be very sweaty, literally and figuratively, but you're trying to win the game, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. You're casually playing, you fist bump the other team, hopefully, in your casual basketball game and go home and eat dinner and have a good night. But if you're playing competitive basketball in a league, the stakes are a little bit higher because you're playing for a little more than just a fist bump. Hopefully you still fist bump and shake hands after the game, but there's a bit more structure to it. And comp has a bit more structure because there's two sides. You get to play both. Because playing quick play, you only play one side when you outside of push and control it. You have to only attack or you only defend. That's not inherently balanced in that sense. They're the same, but with different parameters. So yeah, this is certainly a take of all time. Hot take, every time they rework a character like Symmetra and Sombra that's actually unique and interesting to play with the excuse of making them more healthy, they just make them this bland COD ass soldier that has had all their unique and cool mechanics stripped out of their kit. Like at this point, make every hero be Soldier 76, but for all three roles: tanky, bulky Soldier 76, regular Soldier 76, and Soldier 76, but it's actually Baptiste. Okay, what? Okay, so you're reworking a character like Symmetra and Sombra. When was the last time Symmetra's been reworked? I feel like it's been a while. Did they really make it bland? I feel like they added more interesting parts of her kit, making the beam, regenerate when you like hit it off a shield, and then if you hit it off enemy like HP shield, you actually heal some HP. Those are two unique interactions as part of her kit. You can shoot orbs, you can teleport, you can still throw your sentries. Those are all parts of the kit that were there in 2016. They just been shifted a little bit. Sombra as well, stealth has always been there, but shifted a little bit. They added virus. For Roadhog, they added Pigpen. If anything, they added more variety. But adding variety and making them unique is obviously not the same of how it feels balance-wise, because some of them balance-wise kind of don't blend too well together. Symmetra kind of just does a bit of everything, but not one thing really well. They try to address by removing, Roadhog's one-shot hook, so they have to like set it up with Pigpen, so Pigpen has a little bit of utility. And then you have Sombra, where they're trying to shift how the stealth isn't permanent, add Virus as a DPS tool, make Translocator less of a permanent stealth and an easy escape tool, but tie it in together. I think all the mechanics are cool and unique in a vacuum, but they definitely have to work on how they blend together to make the character flow in the game. But the take of it being all bland soldier, not vibing with that one. Hot take, I think Ashe is way more oppressive than Widow. Girl has the best DPS ult. That's subjective. A gun that is insanely quick in terms of fire rate, also subjective. And Dynamite punishes playing behind cover, which is one of Hitscan's DPS biggest weakness. Not to mention that a reload animation means you cannot punish her by waiting till she reloads like you could with Widow. Ashe with a good Mercy pocket with good positioning is just impossible to dislodge without an extremely coordinated team. Yeah, this is certainly a hot take. I don't think Ashe is more oppressive than Widow because Widow just simply outranges her. If Ashe wants to do reasonable damage, she has to play at a much more closer to medium range, which puts her in a more vulnerable spot to be, shot back at by many more heroes because they're also within their effective range. Widowmaker sometimes is way more oppressive because there's nothing you can do unless you are playing a complete mobile hero or you challenge her back with equal long ranges, which limits the amount of heroes that can challenge her effectively. Now, Girl is the best DPS ult. I would say Bob, subjective, but it's definitely one of the better DPS ults, so I'll give you that. A gun that's quick in terms of fire rate, actually, it's kind of slow. I can name a gazillion heroes that have faster fire rates like Soldier, Cass, Sojourn. It's actually quite slow. It's just very bursty. Actually, Dynamite is much better used as an AoE like ult builder and maybe to finish you off if you're quickly tucked behind cover. But a lot of times when you're dueling an Ashe in the open and you're low and you go behind cover, you have to go a little further in. It's just one of those skill matchups you have to understand that she can reach you quickly around the corner, but obviously Dynamite has a fixed throw and splash radius if it explodes. So if you go behind cover, you should probably back out a little more if you're expecting that to come. That's just one of the things you have to learn. Not to mention her reload animation, you can't wait. Well, if you just reload one and try shooting again, the time is actually kind of long. It's like 1.2 seconds. So a lot of Ashes end up reloading a couple of bullets. Sure, she doesn't have to go to full, but if you actually time it, it's pretty similar to Widow. Like reloading 3 versus like Widow just fully like reloading. It's pretty similar. So I've debunked a few of the other ones, but at the last point, Ashe with a good Mercy pocket and good positioning is impossible to dislodge. Very difficult to. It is certainly a very lethal combo, but remember, you're pulling 2 people instead of 1. If you can somehow pull her attention without like fully dying, or if your tank can draw the attention of Ashe and Mercy without dying, you are like putting your team at an advantage. It's not impossible to dislodge, and Mercy is kind of low in demand right now in the high ranks because this kind of combo, while good in rank, is actually quite doable, like in terms of beating. I think it's much easier to kind of overwhelm them with brawl and or dive in a lot of cases. Hot take, the game is fun. It's not dying, and the fact that other games are still trying to emulate Overwatch is proof. Not a hot take. Completely agree with this. I've been playing for 8 years. I still find it fun in a much more healthier casual dose. I'm certainly not playing this game 10 to 12 hours a day like I did in 2016, but I can throw in at 1 to 3 hours a day. I know I'm a full-time Overwatch streamer, and a lot of the expectation is I play 6 to 8 hours of ranked a day. I don't do that. I have a healthy relationship with the game, unless it's drops, of course, Twitch drops, where like I'm incentivized to stream for the ads, for the money, for the more people. That's just being transparent. But like casually, if I wasn't a streamer or YouTuber for the game, I would probably still play the game, a couple of hours a week. And that's actually just much better, much healthier. This is the only game that has that hero shooter itch that it can scratch. A lot of games that are trying to emulate hero shooters fall a little flat. And actually, this kind of goes into the final rant of or a little spiel of the video, is that I think for gaming as a whole, I think it's very hard to shake people off their home and comfy game in the genre that they're playing in unless it's doing something completely different. Like people have kind of cozied in on Fortnite, Apex, PUBG for a long time as their like battle royales, and everything that kind of try to challenge it. They didn't do anything unique enough to take them off the game. They made to give it a whirl for a little bit, but like not enough. No shake. CSGO for the shooter, like maybe Valorant came in and said it would kill it, but it was different enough that like it didn't shake people off CS, but it was fun enough that it kept a brand new audience. That's a unique outlier. But then we have like MOBAs. League and Dota are like, the powerhouses, and you have Heroes of the Storm and all these other small Paragon and all these other MOBA likes that try to offer something unique, but it just wasn't enough to keep them stuck, to keep them on the game. This is all to say that Overwatch is people's hero shooter's choice. Like if there's a new hero shooter that's come out, I mean, there's been plenty of attempts, but nothing really shakes how like optimized and how the lore and how everything kind of fits together and how smooth the game actually runs. And this is not a paid message, like genuinely. Why am I still here making content for this game? Because I actually still do like this game and I want it to succeed. And I feel like a lot of people still feel that way deep down. Besides the people who have already quit and still show up in Overwatch communities just to like talk down, like, bro, move on. Like, if you're going to like criticize because you want the game to be better, not because you just like have the giga hate boner and just want to just keep barraging hate for no reason. Like, just play the other game that you actually like and move on with your life. But if you're, you know, healthily criticizing, that's totally fine. And if you look at the numbers, evidently the game is still very popular. There's so much competition and so many games that have come out in recent years, but nothing really shakes Overwatch, to be honest with you. And that's what Aaron Keller said in his blog. Like, he's like, surprisingly, the game is pretty sticky PvP wise. A lot of people are still buying skins. A lot of people are still tuning in and tapping into the season and playing. I mean, even some of these trailers from the new seasons are getting over 1 million views easily on socials. For some reason lately, I've been getting a lot of like Overwatch meme TikToks, and they've just been doing so well. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like another audience that came in, like the newer, younger Gen Z, Gen Alpha players. I'm seeing these pro players in high ranks at 17 years old, Overwatch 2, which means they were freaking like 9 years old with Overwatch 1, which means they probably weren't too tuned into the game when they're 10, 11, 12 years old. Maybe they didn't buy the game at the time because they didn't have money or their parents didn't buy it. Now they're older teens, they can tap into a free game. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's all I want to say. Thank you for listening and goodbye.